I said, what happened? He told me to shut the fuck up.
Hold on.
Today, we're going to break down the NFL's most explosive feud, Terrell Owens versus Donovan McNabb. Trust me, you'll want to grab some snacks for this one, because if you couldn't tell by the first clip, you're in for a wild one. The year was 2004. Donovan McNabb was at the top of his game as the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles. He was more than just one of the league's best quarterbacks, he was one of the top players in the entire NFL. He had a cannon for an arm, the mobility of a dual-threat quarterback, and the leadership that had already carried the Eagles to 3 straight NFC Championship games. But for all that success, the team kept falling short when it mattered most. There was just something missing. And then came Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens, better known as T.O., wasn't just a talented wide receiver, he was a legend, right up there with the GOATs like Moss, Rice, and Megatron. But what set Owens apart, aside from his sheer skill, was his personality. He was flamboyant and outspoken. He loved the spotlight, something he shared with guys like Chad Ochocinco. Keep that in mind, because it'll matter later. McNabb and T.O. weren't strangers. The two had faced each other for years and shared smiles, laughs, and big plays at Pro Bowls when they were on the same team. That bond led McNabb to vouch for Owens, pushing the Eagles' front office to bring him to Philadelphia. The Eagles listened. They traded for Owens in 2004, and what followed felt like history in the making. The Eagles wasted no time, locking Owens down with a 7-year, $40 million deal, and he was worth every single penny. In his first season with the Eagles, T.O. managed to get 77 receptions, 1,200 yards, and 14 touchdowns. They were looking better than ever with the new star duo in Philly. The McNabb-Owens duo was electric. Philly stormed out of the gate with an 8-0 start, crushing every team in their path. But perfection never lasts long. The Eagles suffered their first loss of the season against the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's when the cracks started to show. Cameras caught Owens trying to talk to McNabb on the sidelines, but McNabb, he wasn't having it. He walked away, ignoring Owens, turning his back on the conversation. Of course, the duo brushed it off in the media. T.O. said he was just trying to lift Donovan's spirits after a tough 27-3 loss, and for a while, things seemed fine. Philly bounced back, winning their next 2 games. But then came the Giants game, the game that changed everything. According to Owens, McNabb missed him on a route where he was wide open, an easy touchdown. Owens, never one to keep quiet, let McNabb know about it. McNabb, frustrated, shot back, "Shut the fuck up." Those words lit a fire under Owens. He exploded on the sidelines, venting to anyone who would listen. Even the commentators noticed the tension, and Owens still talks about that moment to this day, 2 decades later. McNabb later admitted to the comment, and the two seemed to bury the hatchet. The Eagles managed to finish the season with a record of 13-3 and were first in the NFC East. Disaster struck late in the season. In a matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, T.O. went down with a sprained ankle. Sadly, the sports world doesn't wait for you to recover, so the show went on. The Eagles made it to the NFC Championship for the 4th year in a row and managed to get a huge win without their star receiver and kept their season alive. Now it was time for the Super Bowl, and the Eagles had to face the ultimate challenge, the New England Patriots, led by the legendary Tom Brady. On top of that, the Eagles were at a massive disadvantage. Their star receiver, Terrell Owens, was injured. But let's be real, this was T.O. we're talking about. A guy with that much confidence, there was no way he was sitting out the biggest game of his career. Injured or not, T.O. had to play. Playing through the pain, Owens pulled off 9 catches and just over 100 yards, all while basically playing on one leg. It still wasn't enough to beat the insane New England Patriots dynasty though. The Eagles lost 24-21. Do you think that the Eagles would have won if Owens was fully healthy? Critics blasted Owens for returning too soon, but T.O. wasn't about to let them off easy. He clapped back, calling the media hypocrites, saying they'd praise someone like Brett Favre for doing the same. In an interview, he said, "If it was Brett Favre, they'd be calling him a hero, but because it's me, I'm selfish. I'm tired of the double standard." That was Owens, unapologetically loud, confident, and willing to fight back. I said it before, and I'll say it again, T.O. loved to talk, and there was nothing you could do about it. What do you think? Was there really a double standard? In the offseason, things got ugly. Owens, looking to renegotiate his contract for more money, took shots at McNabb. During an ESPN interview in August 2005, he claimed he wasn't the one who gassed out during the Super Bowl. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know he was talking about McNabb. Did Owens cross the line with this comment, or was he speaking the truth? Later that year, tensions hit a boiling point when Owens got into a fight with teammate Hugh Douglas. And to make matters worse, he turned to McNabb and asked, "Do you want some too?" T.O. was officially off the rails, and the Philadelphia organization had enough. Owens publicly apologized but left McNabb out of the apology. The Eagles gave him a maximum suspension of 4 games. Owens ended up apologizing again, but this time he managed to swallow his pride and apologized to McNabb directly. But the damage was done. The Eagles not only upheld the suspension, but they also sat him out for the rest of the season. McNabb wasn't buying Owens' apology at all. He called it the Kings of Comedy, dismissing it as a joke, and even went as far as saying it felt like a slap in the face. And any hope of patching things up was over. It didn't take long for the Eagles to decide they'd had enough. They terminated Owens' contract, officially ending the short-lived, star-studded duo of McNabb and Owens. But if you thought the drama was over, think again. Not long after leaving Philly, Owens signed with the Dallas Cowboys, the Eagles' divisional rivals. Owens continued to take shots at McNabb, trashing him in interviews, his book, and wherever else he could get a microphone. Owens didn't hold back, saying, "I don't regret anything I said about Donovan. I said what needed to be said." And in his book, he wrote, "I wasn't wrong about McNabb, and the truth hurts." McNabb, for the most part, tried to take the high road, downplaying the feud and claiming it was just about football. But at a certain point, even he had to clap back. He called Owens selfish and a distraction to the team, comments that only added more fuel to the fire. While the drama played out in the headlines, Owens thrived in Dallas and immediately reminded the league why he was one of the best to ever do it. In his first season with Dallas, Owens put up impressive numbers: 85 receptions, 1,180 yards, and 13 touchdowns. McNabb, meanwhile, struggled with injuries and missed serious playing time. For McNabb, it had to feel like a no-win situation. His former teammate was shining with a divisional rival while dragging his name through the mud at every opportunity. If you were in McNabb's shoes, how would you handle it? Playing alongside quarterback Tony Romo, T.O. thrived on the field, but the spotlight off the field never dimmed. From his emotional "that's my quarterback" press conference after a Romo loss to his infamous sideline antics, Owens embraced the chaos that seemed to follow him. Despite elite gameplay, his reputation as a locker room distraction stuck. Over the next few years, Owens bounced around the league, playing briefly for the Bills and Bengals before being out of the NFL by 2010. Owens finished his career with 1,078 receptions, 15,934 yards, and 153 touchdowns, ranking 3rd all-time in receiving yards. But the feud with McNabb cast a long shadow over his career, and the controversies kept Owens out of the Hall of Fame until 2018, a delay many believe was tied more to perception than performance. For McNabb, the fallout with T.O. marked the beginning of a slow decline. After Owens' departure, the Eagles struggled in 2005, finishing 6-10 while McNabb battled injuries. Though McNabb continued to put up solid numbers in the years that followed, the magic that had carried the Eagles to 3 straight NFC Championship games was gone. In 2008, McNabb led the Eagles to one final NFC Championship run, but they fell short of a Super Bowl return. By 2010, McNabb was traded to Washington, where his struggles intensified. He posted a 5-8 record, faced criticism for his conditioning, and was eventually benched late in the season. His final stop came in 2011 with the Minnesota Vikings, but by then, it was clear his career was winding down. McNabb quietly retired in 2013, but his career speaks for itself. 37,276 passing yards, 234 touchdowns, and 6 Pro Bowls. He remains the greatest quarterback in Eagles history, but for many fans, his legacy's complicated. The Super Bowl loss, combined with Owens' public criticism and the gassing out narrative, became a stain that never fully faded. And so that's the story of one of the most infamous feuds in NFL history, the fallout between Donovan McNabb and Terrell Owens. Now, the question is, who was really in the wrong here? Was it McNabb, who tried to keep things professional but occasionally fired back? Or was it Owens, whose outspoken personality and locker room crashouts created chaos? Was this just a case of two egos too big to share the spotlight, or could it all have been resolved with a simple conversation? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notifications for all of our NFL breakdowns. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.